How good can you stand it? In this video, we go over how to let more goodness in, what's standing in your way from that goodness, the techniques and ways you can physically let more goodness into your body. So firstly, let's talk about upper limiting and this idea of how good can you stand it. So there's a concept that Gay Hendricks, he wrote a book called The Big Leap, and he talks about upper limiting. He says that we have a resistance, we have a threshold to everything, a set point. It's just a habit. We are used to operating in certain ranges. And just like your tolerance for experiencing pain or discomfort or bullshit in your life, you also have a tolerance for how good you can stand it, how much amazingness, how much pleasure, how much flow you will be able to feel comfortable experiencing in your life. Just this concept alone could be mind-blowing, meaning that how good you feel is basically limited by an imaginary limit that you've placed on yourself just because you haven't felt something more. And because you haven't experienced something more, you cap yourself like a glass ceiling, and you're the one limiting yourself from actually experiencing deeper levels of pleasure, of happiness, of joy, of connection, and all the other things that make us feel really, really good. So what could be stopping you from feeling good? Well, most of it is just because you haven't experienced it before. Another reason is you could be afraid, a fear of the unknown. What will happen if I feel that good? Do I deserve to feel that good? A lot of the limitations that we have are tied to self-worth and what we deserve because of the experiences we had as children in our relationships, and that we continue to perpetuate by those first experiences that laid the foundation or set the benchmarks for the good and the not so good. The good news is that you can expand and you have control over feeling better and feeling more, meaning that you have the control to start to up how good you actually can feel it, how much goodness, pleasure, aliveness, passion, money, all the things that you desire, how much will you actually allow into your body? And the good thing is, yes, this is a mind thing and a mindset thing, but when it comes to allowing and receiving, it's a body thing too. So there's things that you can do in the moment to open your body to start receiving and to start allowing. So in the moment when you're experiencing something really good, and your natural response will be to block it, to stop that feeling, to turn away because it's too intense, too good. There are things that you can do to breathe, to soften, so that you can stay in that moment just a little bit longer, push through that uncomfortableness a little bit. Yes, it can be uncomfortable to feel too good, and allow yourself to, instead of being overwhelmed by the sensation and the experience and have it be a negative thing, that's why we want to turn away. We can relax into it and allow our body to open and soften, and instead allow a little bit more in. And each time you do that, physically allowing more pleasure in, more goodness, more money, more of all the yummy things that you desire, your threshold starts going up and you start to be able to expand how good you actually feel. So some of the ways you can move out of the way is humor. Crack a joke, shift the energy. It's getting a little too intimate, a little too feely-goody, like, oh, this connection is too strong, let me crack a joke. What you're doing is you're trying to break the moment, you're trying to shift the energy. And notice it's probably just a habit. It's something that you've always done. You're probably not even intending to do it because you probably really, really, really want to stay in that moment just a moment longer. Like we mentioned before, you'll have a negative thought. Gay Hendricks goes over this in his work extensively, that most people will only allow themselves to feel good for a very, very short period of time, less than 30 seconds before they have a thought, a negative thought, telling them that, oh, something's wrong. One thing people do is you physically get out of the way of whatever is feeling good. This could be when you're intimate or any other situation. You could leave a party, you could physically remove yourself. This especially happens in physical intimacy with orgasms. when someone is having a very hard time to climax and they haven't before and they really, really want to, they'll literally like move out of the way so that the energy, whatever was feeling that good, doesn't push them over the edge. And again, this is just fear because you haven't been there before and you don't know what will happen. It's the fear of losing control, even though that's the thing you want to lose the most. And lastly, any way that you deliberately remove yourself from any feelings of feel-goodness. If you are removing yourself mentally, physically, emotionally, any way that you stop the flow of goodness in your life, just notice it, acknowledge it, and find ways that you can instead stay with it just that much longer. So how do you physically do this? The number one thing is breathe. When you find yourself in a situation that is starting to become intense, or that is heightened, or that you sense is leading you to that thing you actually really, really, really want, but you might be afraid to experience or receive because you've never had it before, or you had it before and it wasn't safe. It wasn't a safe experience, but you've changed, situation is different, it's a new person, and you really do want this. So in that moment, when you're having a body response, which is closing down, which that's what we do to protect ourselves, is when we're having a body response of closing down, instead, we can relax. We can take a deep breath. Number one, breathe. What the breath does is facilitates relaxation. So number two is allow yourself to relax and focus on relaxing and releasing any resistance with every breath that you take. Because just breathing, I'm not necessarily relaxing, even though breath facilitates relaxation. So it's both. It's allowing yourself to breathe and to like physically think, I need to relax and let go, because a state of receiving is a state of softness and openness. So physically to receive, I need to be soft and open and relaxed. So move through your body. Any things that do not feel soft and open and relaxed, allow yourself to move physically in that moment. And it doesn't matter if you're with someone, if you're not, if you're in the grocery store, allow yourself to breathe, relax, move. And lastly, start to open your senses to feel, meaning that in that moment when you're experiencing something really good, allow yourself to, when you're relaxing, to actually take it in. So we take in and we receive through our senses. We have all the senses. We have feelings, but we also have like the sixth sense, like allowing yourself to absorb the energy, absorb the moment into all the ways that you can. Again, being in a soft, receptive place, breathing, relaxing, creates the space for you to then actually feel. Because a lot of times when we have been in a place of unsafety, we leave our bodies. So notice as you're doing this, how do you feel in your body? Again, the movement of the body will bring you back into your body and bring the awareness into your body, making you notice if you're in it or if you're not. If you find yourself not in your body, it can be as easy as just noticing that and saying, okay, I want to be back in my body, move around, breathe yourself back in, and bring your awareness into your body. When your awareness is in your body and your senses, then you're in your body and in your senses. Meaning that then you can actually feel so much deeper and you can feel so much more. The reason you leave your body is because that intensity, you've learned that when the intensity rises and things get too intense, you don't want to feel, and instead you exit. But feeling is a good thing. Feeling is an indicator. It's something that you want. Even when something is uncomfortable, feeling is telling you that there is something amiss, that something needs to shift, that either you need to shift, the situation. It's important that you feel because it directs you into the stream of your highest good so that you can actually feel and know what's for your highest good. When you're in that intensity and you feel the resistance growing and the need to want to turn away, to change the situation, to have a negative thought, or any of the ways that we use to get out of feeling good, allow yourself to stay there just a moment longer. Breathe just one more time. Take in one more moment. And the more that you do this and the more you practice this, you start to expand your capacity to receive. You start to expand your capacity of feeling good, of allowing that goodness into your body. Your comfort range starts to expand, and your body starts to learn what relaxation feels like in the moment, and it starts to become an automatic response to breathe and relax when you feel uncomfortable instead of resist, contract, and move out of the way. For more videos on sacred sexual practices, energy practices, and feeling good, subscribe below.